Hello guys, I am back from another review on the day we talk about whether Deku had the powers of the Greek gods. So in the last video, Deku, we started off with Izuku, and we talked about that Izuku was the son of Hades and Persephone. But not only that, he has two brothers, Dionysus and Zagreus. So during in their time, they were in a midst of a war between the Christian pantheon. The Christian pantheon wanted to destroy every other pantheon because he believed, being their leader, Yahweh, he believed that he was supposed to be the only pantheon to be recognized, and everybody should worship him and him alone. So the other pantheon stopped him and basically defeated him. So yeah, so a few years have gone by as there was a certain event, and that event was an incident. So, in that incident, Izuku got really drunk as Aphrodite basically told her son, being, well, his her son was Eros, to basically shoot the arrow of love at Izuku and two different gods, being the goddesses known as Loki and Thor, which, because of that, well, it created the incident. So, because of that, well, the Greek and Norse pantheon, well, it's been a little bit rocky because of that incident. So, yeah. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku's basically in his room, basically, well, pretty much thinking. Izuku says, I pretty much the fault of this. As Zagreus comes into Izuku's room, as he says, "Hey, Nightmare," Izuku says, "Oh, hey, brother." As he says, "So that whole incident," Izuku says, "I don't want to talk about it." As he says, "Oh, because well, apparently Thor really wants to talk to you about something." Izuku says, "Oh no." As he says, "Yeah." So, how's it feel finally, well, being a man? As Izuku says, stop talking about that. I'm pretty much fucking. As he says, oh, yeah, that. So, brother, um, hmm. We're going to be having a party with the Norse Pantheon again. As Izuku says, sorry, I will not be joining because, well, that incident. As he says, oh, okay, I'll respect that. As as his other brother being Izuku's other brother being Dionysus says, party pooper. As Izuku says, it's your fault for giving me the wine. As he says, oh come on, and it was funny, and besides, you're now finally a man, I guess. Izuku says, I'll be going to sleep. So after they basically talked, they started going to the party, except for Izuku, which Izuku was in the palace basically while watching in his all-knowing eye. It was a present from his best friend from the Egyptian pantheon, which was Horus. So, wait for a second. So, while Izuku was using his all-knowing eye, Izuku sees Japan in the modern times, which Izuku says to himself, whoa, so the gods being, Odin decided to give everybody these special powers known as quirks. They're basically, inferior versions of magic, which, well, it's basically, written in their code. Izuku tells to himself, wow, that's a unique looking ability. So, quirks. Huh. While Izuku was watching, well, one of the gods, being, Susanoo, basically looks and sees the all-knowing eye, watching, all the people, as Susanoo basically says, oh, hello Izuku. And Izuku leaps up as Izuku says, "Oh, it's just you, Susano." As he says, "So, why are you spying on, well, on Japan?" Izuku says, "Oh, I was just wondering, why is there so many people with these weird looking abilities?" As he basically explains what are quirks. Izuku says, "Interesting. So, can you tell me who gave them and why?" As he says, it was from, well, a corroboration from, well, the Japanese pantheon and the Norse pantheon, which decided to do this because, well, they wanted to, well, give a present to everybody, their subjects, aka the humans. So yeah, so Izuku says, "So a present, eh?" As Susano says, "Yes." Izuku says, "Alright, I'll be going back." So Izuku turns off his all-knowing eye as Izuku basically lays down on his bed. Basically, well, thinking. It's super interesting how the humans act and these weird-looking technologies being used. So while Izuku was thinking, Izuku hears his brothers and his father, Hades, and his mother, Persephone, come back. As Persephone says, "Hey, Izuku." Izuku says, "Oh, what is it, mother?" As Izuku sees that Persephone brought a little letter. So, Izuku opens the letter. As, wait for a second. The letter says that, well, it was pretty much a threat. So, apparently, some of the Christian mythology, including Yahweh, are still alive, and they bring out this threat only to Izuku. Izuku says, "What? A threat letter?" As Hades says, "Yes. It seems that Yahweh survived, including his other seven archangels, or it's just two of them." Izuku says, "Who are these two?" As he basically says, well, as well, it's Azriel and Michael. Izuku rips the papers. Izuku says, "I'm gonna find them and rip them apart." As Hades says, "Wait, Izuku, what are you doing?" As Izuku says, "I'm gonna find them and kill those bastards." As he basically says, "Stop. As your father and also the god of the underworld, I command you to stop." Izuku says, "Shut up, father. I want them." He basically says, one of them being his brother Zagreus, being a little bit concerned for Izuku's safety, basically says um to his father, Hades, to basically allow him to basically find them. He also says that he's going to bring in one of his, well, known friends, being Aphrodite. As in Aphrodite, I mean his son. I meant her son, being Eros, to basically help him out. So, after Eros finally arrives, Eros says, "Oh, hey." As Izuku says, "So we're gonna be teaming up to finally find well, the rest of the remaining well, pantheon of the Christian mythology." As he basically says, "Yes." So while they're basically, well, patrolling Greece, they basically see some weird looking people. One of which was a man with, wait for a second. The weird man has a silver beard and yellow eyes, like golden. The other two were look the same, but with slight changes. One of them has heterochromic eyes. One of his eyes was black, and the other one was pure golden. While the other one has a golden eye as well, but he has a red eye, like completely dark red, crimson. Izuku watches them as Izuku tells Eros, hmm, it's probably them. As he says, really? They don't really look like them. Especially if they're supposed to be, well, um, if there's like two other archangels with Yahweh, why is there, well, why is those two people, well, why do those two people don't have wings? Most angels have wings. Izuku says, shut up. As Izuku says, I want to destroy Yahweh and all of his evil ideas. So, Izuku goes down and basically shows himself, including Eros, as Izuku says, why hello there, Yahweh. As the man says, I don't know who you're talking about, young man. Izuku says, I know who you are. Izuku brings out his, well, blade made from the energies and darkness of, well, from the darkness of other people's hearts, being the sword known as Nemesis, named after the goddess that Izuku absorbed into his being. Izuku says, I know who you are, and if you don't tell me then, you better die. As the man laughs, as he says, oh, you finally found me out. So, Azrael, Michael, destroy him. So, they start bringing out their, well, weapons. Well, Michael summons out a large blade, and for Azrael, he summons out a golden scythe. And for Yahweh, he summons out tons and tons of, well, silver and golden chains as they start, well, wrapping around Izuku. So, Izuku breaks the chains as Izuku starts charging in at Yahweh. While for arrows, he starts creating arrows of hate. I meant arrows of hate. They start shooting it at, well, at both Azria and Michael, basically making them hate each other as they start fighting each other. As for Eros, Izuku tells Eros to basically, well, call out some reinforcements from the other gods. So Eros basically goes over there to Mount Olympus and basically explains what is happening. So Zeus and Hera basically summon out his best soldiers, being the soldiers of the Amazons. So, if you don't know what are the Amazons, they're basically warrior women. So, they start coming out of the, well, on Mount Olympus and started riding on Pegasus. And if you don't know what a Pegasus is, or Pegasi, let's just call them Pegasi for now. They're basically, well, a known symbol of, well, I think his name was, wait for a sec. It's the mighty steed of Bellerophon, which in the legends was a Greek hero and also the defeater of the Chimera, one of the children of, well, Typhon and Echidna. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, while Izuku was fighting, Izuku basically, well, gets stabbed right in the chest by, well, by Yahweh's spear. A spear that literally kills other gods, especially so it can kill other gods. And because of that, Izuku dropped to the ground, dead, while Yahweh basically puts his foot right in the chest of Izuku, basically laughing as he says, "Now, you're only nothing more than a stupid little child compared to me. I'm greater than any god. I'm a god of gods." As as he basically feels something in his chest as well, a lightning bolt, which it explodes him as he says, "Dang it! I'll be going." He basically disappears in, well, in a burst of flames. So, while Izuku was bleeding in the ground, well, his mother, being Persephone, and his father, being Hades, basically run up to Izuku as they say, "Izuku, are you okay?" Izuku says, "Don't worry, mother, I'm okay, but I think I might be dead. That blade, that spear, it can kill gods, you know?" As they say, "Yeah, but please, please." Izuku says, "Don't worry, I'll be okay." As one of the gods being, well, one Pacific god. This god was Hecate, the goddess of necromancy, and not only that, a god of witchcraft. She says, "Don't worry, Zuku. I, I think I found a way so you can go back to being a god. But you need to go back to the human world. As in, go back, I mean, you need to become a human and live a human life. And when you die, you become a god again. Or, or if you want to, you just need to kill, well, Yahweh and absorb his energy, and then you can become a god again." Izuku says, "Really, Hecate?" As she says, "Yes. But don't worry. I found a place where you can, well, be transformed into a human. And that place is Japan." Izuku says, "Wait, Japan? Where the Japanese pantheon lives?" As she says, "Yeah. I'll tell one of your, well, friends, being Susanoo, to basically help you out." As Izuku says, "Thank you, Hecate." So, Izuku closes his eyes, happy as he dies. Persephone and Hades basically start crying, including the other gods. As Hecate goes up to, well, Hades, as she says, "Don't worry, he'll come back soon. He just needs to find a way to finally kill, well, Yahweh. And because of that, and when he finally kills Yahweh, he can absorb his energy and become a god again." So, he basically calls out, well, one of the gods in the Japanese pantheon being, well, so he, she basically tells Susanoo that, well, Izuku was killed by Yahweh, but don't worry, he's gonna become, well, a human in the, well, Japanese pantheon's, well, area, being Japan. As Susanoo says, "Sure." So, after telling the leader of the Japanese pantheon being Izanagi, he allows it. So, when he finally locates Izuku, Izuku is finally birthed from a woman by the name of Inko Midoriya. Izuku was given the name Izuku Midoriya, but his hair was completely different from his mother and his father, or at least his human and I meant his father. His hair was, well, completely gray. Just a little streak of gold hair. His eyes were different as well. He has purple eyes. So because of that, well, Inko basically thought, well, or at least Asashi literally thought that Inko was basically cheating on him. So because of that, well, he basically divorced well, Inko. Because of that, she was alone. But but with the baby, she decides to become, well, more independent, and basically take care of Izuku as a single mother. So yeah, so I hope you liked the video, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. So goodbye.